A Battle Built here with another video, and today we're getting some more Season 6 Ultra League Premier Cup Go Battle League battles. For today's video, a little bit less on the spice, a little bit more on the meta. I have my current go-to team for some Ultra League Premier Cup Go Battle League battles. This is the team I use to climb after I throw a bunch of elo when I do videos like my last couple and I use something like Shadow Amistar or Mag Mortar. Because, you know, I got to regain the elo, got to stay around that legend rating so I can put out the spice content at some high-quality battles. Plus, I don't want to drop too far because then it's a little bit unfair if I go too low and then start battling my way up and gatekeeping people that are trying to make their legend pushes also. But my current go-to team consists of an Umbreon lead. You might be finding that interesting. We'll talk about that in a little bit. A Gengar save swap and then Togekiss as a closer. Now, because Umbreon's fighting weakness, we have two things in the back that are going to do well against that fighting weakness, essentially, with Gengar and Togekiss. And I feel like Umbreon's a very solid lead, especially in Ultra League Premier Cup, because once you get to level 50, it wins a lot of matchups. It wins them very close and can lead to some positive situations if an opponent decides to give an extra shield. But we'll talk about that more as we get into the battles. I hope I'm providing you with a pretty quality go-to team here, and I have a nice little set of 5 battles to showcase how I like to use it. Because like I said, I've been winning a lot and I've been having some fun with it, especially in a matchup like this. So right off the bat, running into a fighter lead, going for that Gengar safe swap, and they're going to then safe swap into their Empoleon. You might notice something about my moveset. I'm running Focus Blast, and that's key because a Gengar save swap gets met with a lot of Empoleons and a lot of Snorlaxes, and we land Focus Blast just like that. And Gengar flip switch. I played so many matches where they just aren't expecting the Focus Blast, whether it be an Empoleon or a Snorlax, and I flip switch right on that. So they come in with a Lapras. I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to go for another Focus Blast. They decide they want to throw. They did not want to have to use a shield or get blasted twice in the same match. And right from that save swap after losing lead, this win is already sealed because we're going to go into Umbreon here against Lapras. This is a good matchup for Umbreon at level 50. You really need to get it as close to level 50 as possible because it picks up more and more matchups as it gets higher and higher, which obviously makes sense because it's getting closer and closer to level it's getting closer and closer to the 2500 mark because Umbreon fully maxed out still stays underneath 2500 even as a hundo, so you definitely need that hundo for the Umbreon you're going to max out. They bring in their Toxicroak. I go in with Togekiss. I was calling their bluff. I also didn't think they had enough counters to get to a Sludge Bomb, so if I was miscounting there, that definitely could have came back to bite me, but thankfully I was not. They're going for a move here. Sludge Bomb this time. I use a shield. Definitely want to make sure I take out the Toxicroak. And at this point, my opponent, I think, decides to play it out, but this is GG. They can have their 2 shield to 1 shield advantage. This Surf is not going... Oh, no, Ice Beam. Still not threatening my Togekiss. I actually ended up surviving it. I forgot. I'm sorry. These battles from a couple days ago. But I survive it. Get off the Aerial Ace. Get their shields. And they decide they still want to play it out. But even if Togekiss goes down there, Umbreon has energy. Umbreon has full health. They have Ice Beam. They're going to need quite a few Ice Beams to take out my Umbreon here. So I'm just like, you know, you want to save your shields? I'll save mine. We'll play this out. It's a bit slow. Now, the one Pokemon. There's one Pokemon that we don't like seeing with this team of 3. And I think we see it later on in the set, but I'm going to tell you now because honestly, making Umbreon work in Ultra League Premier Cup is a little bit more difficult than I think in regular Ultra, but I'm being really stubborn with it. I want to play in Ultra Premier, and I want to make Umbreon work there. I feel like I probably have a much easier time making it work in Open Ultra with all the Cresselias and all the Giratinas, but Obstagoon is a tough lead to play. We can play it out, like I'll play out the Zero Shield in that situation, and essentially I'll get the Obstagoon really low. It's not like I get absolutely slaughtered just because Umbreon's so tanky, but we'll talk more about that later if we do run into it. This next matchup, we have Umbreon on an Excadrill, and they pull a great swap. They really must have expected me to overfarm there, and they catch a foul play on their Togekiss, but we don't mind that. We have a counter for the Togekiss, and that's another thing. So the thing with building a team around Umbreon that's so tough is, like, it's weak to Charm, right? So you want to have maybe a Steel type to then counter all the Charmers you're going to run into. But then with the Steel type and then Umbreon, you're double weak to fighting. So that's why I was having such an issue building a team comp around Umbreon that I really liked. I had one last season with Empoleon, but again, just too weak to fighting. But that's where Gengar comes in clutch. Not only is it going to flip switch like it did in the last matchup, but it's not weak to fighting or Charm. And it does well in these situations against Togekisses. Even when we're like in the 2-shield situation, as glassy as Gengar is, it handles those charms pretty well. And they come back into Excadrill, they throw right away. Even though they could have mud shot me down, but they would have had to take some charge moves. I would have thrown some shadow punches. Now I come back into Umbreon. We play this out. The Umbreon matchups are a bit slow, no matter what you're going into, because the only Pokemon you're really hard countering with Umbreon is Drifloon or Gengar, and even those matchups take a while because a Snarl is a slow move, even though it generates energy pretty quickly. But we're going to throw another foul play here. I think they pull off another really good swap and catch another foul play. I get their shield on that last one, and I think this is the foul play. They swap, yep, and then they catch a foul play on their Kingdra, but we have another answer for the Kingdra in the form of Togekiss, in the form of Charm. So, you know, to kind of keep that balance, again, with Umbreon's weakness to fighting and to Charm, is that we have a Charmer to go up against opposing Charmers, and then obviously Togekiss as a Charmer does really well against fighters and dragons when we happen to run into them. Now they come back into their Excadrill. They're going to throw a Rock Slide. It's going to be super effective, but it's not going to take out Togekiss at this health. They're going to try to Mud Shot me down, but that's just not going to work with the amount of health I have, being double resisted because the Togekiss is flying typing. This Flamethrower will take out the remaining health and will take this second match. So, really well played by my opponent, but there wasn't too much they could do. Umbreon just too good, you know? Getting into this next match, we're going up against B, 10-16. I think... Is this? I don't want to jinx it. Let me not even say anything. Oh, no, it's Excadrill. Okay, so it's still a lost lead, though. It's a counter user. We, again, save swap into Gengar here, and they come into Lapras. So, again, another thing that can match Gengar, but is also weak to Focus Blast because of its ice typing. So, I'm going to shield their charge move coming through, and I try to live by the saying, never don't not bait. You got to love your triple negatives there, and I just go straight for the big move because it was so satisfying landing it on the Empoleon. Hopefully, they think this is a Shadow Ball or a Shadow Punch. Unfortunately, my opponent knows their count, and they shield the Focus Blast there. But then in that situation, I could have baited. Honestly, I think if I double bait with Shadow Punch and just commit the necessary shields to play out the 2 shields here, I could have potentially won this switch situation. But because I threw the big move there, it was over. So I let that Surf go through. I come back into Umbreon here. And unfortunately, this is going to be a loss. So when you do lose lead to those counter users, it really falls on Gengar, essentially, not just winning switchback, obviously, it's pretty obvious, but landing potential Focus Blast, because a lot of things that save swap into Gengar are weak to Focus Blast, which is the main reason why I'm running that moveset. And it's pretty spiced. I mean, nothing's more satisfying than landing the Focus Blast. But outside of that, with the Charm lead, same thing, save swap Gengar. And then other than that, Umbreon does really well in all its other matchups. So I really enjoy it as a lead, and I had a lot of success with it. In this matchup, we're going to play it out just because I don't know what their last Pokemon is. I know my Togekiss will do well against their Excadrill if I'm able to get in there, and maybe Lapras is their only Togekiss counter. So that's what I'm hoping for in this situation. So I get rid of the Lapras finally, expecting the Excadrill to come in. I have a little bit of energy. I swap into Togekiss, and then unfortunately we get met by an Ampharos, and they're going to be dealing super effective damage to me. My charms are chunking, but it's just not going to be enough. I do shield here because it's a new situation for me. I don't play Togekiss much, and I actually literally just built my Togekiss, even though it is a really solid Ultra League Pokemon, and it's a solid Metamon. Again, one of those Charmers. A lot of good Charmers in Ultra League between Togekiss, Granbull, and Clefable. I feel like you can have success with any Charmer, and honestly, I think I would prefer Clefable on this team of 3. I just don't have good enough IVs, and if I had Clefable on this team of 3, this Ampharos endgame wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world, and I potentially could have pulled it out if Clefable would have been able to tank, Clefable would have been able to tank the electric type moves better. So if you have a Clefable, definitely use it over Togekiss. I just don't have one, unfortunately, and that's why I run Togekiss, and that kind of bites us in this situation. Getting into the 4th match, we have Umbreon on a Dragonite lead. So another positive lead here, another one where if my opponent decides they want to shield, I typically won't shield, but sometimes I flip the coin just because I win everything except for maybe the 2 shields. The 2 shields gets a bit close. It also depends if they land their big move to win the 2 shields, but you'll just see how friggin' tanky Umbreon is. They'll go for a charge move. I'll let it come through. They've built up enough for a Hurricane, but I don't shield anything with Umbreon, especially when I have something like Gengar in the back that definitely needs a shield. They landed the Hurricane, so it's going to be a bit unfortunate for me, but even with that, I'll still win the 0 shields because I'm almost at 2 foul plays. I get them really low with that foul play. They end up swapping, and then I stay in just because of the fact that I don't have the best answer for Empoleon. I don't mind Empoleon if my Gengar's gone in first, so I can try and land the Focus Blast, but I definitely need to do some chip damage on the Empoleon if I want to come in and counter it with my Gengar, which is what I'm going to do here. So I get their Empoleon in the yellow. They're going for a charge move. Hydro Cannon and Drill Peck are similar energy. I don't know why they went for the Drill Peck there, but it doesn't really make much of a difference. I'm going to go for a Shadow Punch. This will either get one of their shields to match my shield, or it'll put the Empoleon in farm range, which I don't mind there either, because they come back in with the Dragonite. I think I can Shadow Claw it down, considering how low I had it. They do come back in with the Dragonite. I do Shadow Claw it down. And then they come in with a Bronzong, which I respect, because that's some spice, and as much as we can deal super effective damage with our ghost damage, which will threaten their shields, we do have to worry about those confusions because they chunk. Thankfully, Gengar was able to survive one of them, and I'm going to get off both of these moves, and I do have Umbreon with a little bit of health and a little bit of energy, so I'm going to go into that, get off at least one foul play here, because I am worried, because, you know, Bronzong is a steel type. It's going to be a pretty difficult task to try and charm it down my Togekiss, so I definitely wanted to get off at least one foul play. I build up a little bit of energy, hoping they don't throw, so I can save the shield, and just in case Togekiss can't handle this, which it should be able to, because it's a full health Togekiss, and I'm not expecting to throw any steel moves here, so I let the Psy Shock come through. But it's a full health Togekiss, and even with their energy, actually, I didn't shield either of these because I knew that I could survive the confusions on Umbreon in case they were able to take me out and get off another foul play to win. That was my logic there. So I don't let any of that. I don't shield any of that. I save the shield just in case they get to another move. I go for the foul play. This will take out the Bronzong's remaining health. I could have snarled down, but it was a big play there. Coming in with Umbreon, throwing the move, farming a little bit, not using the shield, and going into Togi. And Togi was able to eat all the Bronzong's energy to pull off that match. But honestly, I run this team so much on stream right now, and I'm having so much fun with it just because, again, here's another lead situation because Umbreon's so thick that it wins this lead also. And then, of course, landing Focus Blast with Gengar. I think it's pretty cool to put together a successful team that Gengar can be using Focus Blast of all movesets. But we'll play this out. Again, another slower matchup. They end up playing a really good swap. Oh, I guess kind of a really good swap. They catch my foul play. But this team is looking pretty familiar. When you have Empoleon and you save swap Kingdra, it screams Double Dragon, and this team handles Double Dragon really well. We actually end up charming their Kingdra down before they even get off the Octazooka. I'm fully expecting Empoleon to come back in, but I'm not too worried about it just because we have shields. They're going to need to throw to take us out. They can't farm us all the way down, and I should be able to get off a Flamethrower unless they decide they want to throw. They don't end up throwing. I get off this Flamethrower. It'll be neutral damage. It'll either get a shield or get the Empoleon really low. And again, I'm expecting Double Dragon, so the fact they didn't shield that was pretty surprising to me, because if I want to commit here, their team is fairly obvious to me, but I didn't need to. Umbreon has plenty of health. Gengar's still alive, and we both are even in shields. There's no point giving that up, and surprise, surprise, it's Double Dragon. They have Shadow Dragonite. This match is as good as over. 2 shields. Dragonite is not going to be enough to handle us here. But again, I need to stress this enough. You can't just use any XL Umbreon, because if you go through PV Poke, depending on its levels, it does not flip the matchups that are key to use Umbreon in the lead the way that I'm using it with this team of 3. So I highly recommend you go to your EV nests, you grind when it's partly cloudy out. XLs have been out long enough now. If you're grinding hard enough, you should be able to get enough. I'm saying enough a lot. Enough XLs to at least max 1 Umbreon. So I come in the Gengar, they decide they want to throw. I'm just going to Shadow Claw them down. I think their Empoleon's really low, so I'm just going to Shadow Claw that down also. Do I end up throwing here? Oh. I knew this match was over, and they didn't want to give up, so I kind of memed a little bit and went for the Focus Blast. And then they shielded it. They could have just let me land that. There was no point in shielding that. But GG to my opponent there. We pull off the, well, I guess we call it a 4-in-1 set. This is a collection of battles from my last set. Hold up, I want to just pull that up because I don't like having the blank screen there. But that's a current team I'm having a lot of success with. I apologize, it is a bit exclusive because you really need that fully maxed out Umbreon, and I feel like it'll do even better if you best buddy it. I'm working on best buddying it. I'm like 3.5 hearts into the 4-heart best buddy process. But Gengar definitely needs a community day move of Shadow Punch. That's another thing I consistently forget about on Gengar, that Shadow Punch is community day, because Haunter gets Shadow Punch without it being community day. And then Togekiss I feel like is a fairly accessible Pokemon. But if you need a team to go with to have some success in Ultra League and you have the Umbreon, I highly recommend this team of 3. If you want to see me do more battles with it, I highly recommend you check out my Twitch stream. As always, can't stress that enough. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed these battles, and I'm trying to get, I think there's like a week or so left of Ultra League, so I'm trying to get you my go-to team at a relatively decent time. And if you want, let me know. I'll try to get you more battles on YouTube. If you don't want to come to Twitch, completely understand. I'll get you more matchups so you can see how this team plays out of those situations. But I highly recommend it, and get an XL Umbreon. I can't stress that enough. But on that note, thank you so much for watching. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really goes a long way in helping support the channel. We're really close to 6,000 subscribers, and we've had our biggest gaining month this past month. I'm saying it's at the end of the video. Nobody really gets this far into the video, but for those of you that make it this far, I appreciate y'all even more. And of course, as always, the likes and the comments really help that push in the algorithm to get me to that 6K. But on that note, I think I've said the usual spiel way too much at this point, so I will see you all in the next video.